Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Digital Discipleship Podcast. Man, look, I am really tripping because we're at episode 5 already. I came into this year really committed to providing a high level of content and high level resources and tools for you all year long. And here we are closing out our first full month, 5 weeks of episodes. And I'm celebrating that, man. Listen, I've learned how to celebrate my wins, small, big, whatever it is. And this is a victory that I'm celebrating that we are actually completing our fifth episode. And so, look, thank you for those of you who have been with us, who have been rocking with us, who've been listening, who've been watching, wherever you've been finding this. We're excited. And I'm excited that you've been with us. And so we're going to close out this month and we're going to close out this fifth episode by talking about 5 ideas for reaching people. And let me tell you where this comes from a little bit. I get a chance to have conversations with a ton of different pastors and leaders from churches in all kinds of different circles. And one of the things that I'm always kind of thinking and asking about, because I start with pastors with them telling me their struggles and things of that nature, and so many, if I'm honest, the issue to so many challenges that leaders face is growth. It's growth, and if churches had a strategy and a plan to help them reach new people, it really helps to solve so many of the challenges that they have. And I'm not saying growth solves every issue, because if you don't have the right foundations in place, growth can actually hurt you. But if you do have the right things in place, growth helps solves a lot of problems. Growth can help solve a leadership problem. If you don't have, if you're leading a church that's had a lot of the same people for a long time, and really what you're needing is, and maybe those people who've been there for a while are kind of burned out. They've done everything for a long time. They've always been the one leader. And they're just kind of saying, hey, look, we need some more people who can help carry this. Growth would help solve that problem because it adds new people. Even if you're having challenges with resources, you're spending everything you have just to maintain, so you can't do new things because you don't have the resources to do it. Well, growth happens. Rick Warren famously said, somebody gets baptized, their wallet goes in the water too. And so new believers bring in new income and new resources, creativity, growth. When you reach new people from different circles, they bring in wisdom that helps to transform just the culture of the church. So growth is so much a part of it. And so I just wanted to find and add a few handles to help you take some next steps to say, okay, how can we start pushing things in the right direction? And I'll admit, as I'm recording this, I'm still on a high because I'm working with the client in Atlanta, and we've been working to plant a new church in the Atlanta area out in Alpharetta, and I've been working with these leaders, and I've been going to Atlanta. Really, I want to say secretly. It's not secretly, because several of our, the leaders in our church knew and people close to me knew, but it's not something I publicize a whole lot. But like for the last 6 months, man, I've been driving to Atlanta either every other week or once a month or whatever it is, and just training more than 100 or so leaders. And I've been training these new people. Some of them are coming in literally just, I just found Jesus, I'm here. Some are traveling in from all across the country, all of that. And last night, we actually just hosted what we call a friends and family service. So as a part of our launch strategy, is that we held preview services and pop-ups from the summer on up. We did that 3 times, and then last night we held a friends and family service, which was the people who signed up to serve with us. We gave them the invites and said, "Hey, look, you can invite friends and family to come and be a part of this." And so they invited people. So anybody who was in the room was either a part of our team or invited by our team. And man, when I tell you, it was so special. It was so special. Oh my goodness. Watching those leaders serve and watching them come alive. And I just feel so overwhelmed because, I mean, I've been opening appreciation text and emails and stuff all morning from people who just saying, like, listen, You are blessing my life so much. Nobody's ever empowered me this much, and you stretch me, but you do it in a way that honors God, and your teaching has been so foundational to my development. Just all of these different things. And listen, I'm just overjoyed. Like, I don't even know what to say in response to what God is doing. And so as I was thinking about that, this kind of came to mind, and I was like, you know what? Let's walk through some of the deep things that we have wrestled with and we've been thinking about as it relates to reaching new people. And so I'm going to give you some ideas today to help you. All right. But for those of you who are new to me, my name's Henry, and I am the Simple Systems Guy. I love building and developing systems to help the church move forward. And so that's what we do. To get a little bit more specific, there are a couple of areas that I love to help leaders. Number one is in vision development. Typically, if I spend 30 minutes to an hour just asking questions and prying and allowing the leader to pour out their heart, I can come out and kind of formulate into words and into strategy what that vision looks like. And so I love doing that, something that's exciting to me. Also, systems design and implementation. As a part of our company blueprint, we have 10 systems that we believe operate in healthy churches and in growing churches. And so we love to kind of walk through those systems. And I say design and implementation because we don't believe that we give you just a cookie cutter, go do this kind of thing. What we want to do is give you a framework, give you a toolkit to help you do what God's called you to do. And so we give you the bare bones, but then we allow you and we work with you with our clients to tweak it and pull it together. And then last but not least, church and leadership consulting. Church consulting has been something we've done. Leadership consulting is really this emerging kind of chapter of what we do. And with the church consulting is we help you, we look at the church, we help you navigate through challenges and issues and just put a new brain on it and say, okay, help me think through this. And then with the leadership consulting, really what we've been moving into here lately is we've really had an opportunity to come alongside leaders, identify the gaps on their teams, and then help build a strategy to actually develop leaders. I was speaking with one of our clients today. One of the things we're going to do is we're getting ready to roll out each of our systems as individual products by the end of the summer. And as we roll out each of our systems, a part of that is we're going to be providing resources for leadership development. So even now, as I develop the leaders in our church, I'm getting ready to add to our membership area for those who are part of our what we call the Simple System Society, which is our monthly coaching group. They're going to be able to go in there and pull those resources, pull the PowerPoint slides, pull the book summaries that we've downloaded or created, and have a library of things to share with their teams. And it's because I realize I can give you all the systems in the world. If you don't have a team to execute it, it doesn't help you much. You need the right people, and so that's a little bit about what we do. All right. So let's jump into what we're going to be on and what we're going to be talking about today. All right. So we're going to be talking about 5 ideas to reach new people, but there's something we need to address before we get there. So I'm going to ask you a question that I know is going to cause a little bit of controversy in your mind and maybe even in your heart, but I need us to wrestle with it anyway. All right. And here's a question I want to fight with for a moment. Do you want to be the leader of a growing church? All right. I want to sit on that. Do you want to be the leader of a growing church? Now, I didn't ask if you were called to do it. I didn't ask if you are doing it. I just asked, do you want to be the leader of a growing church? And I want you to wrestle with that for a minute because I'm learning more and more that that is a question that we are afraid to talk about. Because sometimes we feel like if we say yes, then we're operating in vanity. And then if we say no, maybe that's us being humble and showing humility, or maybe that's us having low self-esteem, or maybe that's us speaking to the reality of where we are. I don't know. But I want you to answer that question, right? And so just so we can take all the ambiguity out of this, do you want to be the leader of a numerically growing church? That's the question I want to ask. If you're on a leadership team or you're part of a ministry team, do you want to be a leader of a numerically growing church? Do you want to be or don't you want to be? All right. And because there are three things that I want to talk about today before we go into these ideas that I think will go a long way. And here's what I'm saying is if we don't cover these three things, the five ideas that I'm going to give you, they won't help you at all. So we've got to deal with these three things. All right. I want to deal with the biggest one first. Number one is your mindset. Your mindset as a leader will go a long way in determining how far and how fast your organization can go. It is your mindset. And so when you see that question, do you want to be the leader of a growing church? What happened in your mind? Did you go up to a place in your mind where you're like, well, it's not up to me, whether or not our church grows, or I can't control that, or what does growth really means, because you can growth and swelling look the same for a season. One is healthy, and all of that is true. But what is your mindset about growth? And here's why I'm asking. I'm not going to tell you what mindset to have. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to help you figure out what your mindset is, because whatever your mindset is going to permeate throughout your church. And so if your mindset is growth is up to God, then that's the attitude that your church is going to have. And so they're not going to see a need to invite people to church. They're not going to see a need to do events and do outreaches that are externally focused, because God is going to send who he wants to send anyway. Right? And if that's the mindset you want to carry, go for it. Now, I'm going to tell you I disagree with that mindset. And the reason that I disagree with that mindset is that if you're saying that the ultimate outcome is up to God, I agree with you. If you're saying that because the outcome is up to God, that we have a choice to limit our inputs, that's where I disagree. I believe that yes, the ultimate outcomes will always be up to God. But I also believe that we should always be doing what he has called us to do. We should always be going ye therefore. We should always be teaching all nations, right? Not teaching my little small group, but finding ways to teach people beyond the church about the good news. We should always be thinking about how we can make more disciples. Because really, the journey that we're called to be on is to depopulate hell and to populate heaven. And we cannot approach that mission thinking that God is going to do it and we're just here to catch whatever fish jump into the boat. No, 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 no. And so here's what I'm asking you to wrestle with. What's your mindset when it comes to growth? Now, here's another thing I'll say. I have, even with the church that I lead, I set a very clear example and a very clear standard that we are not going to be judging growth just by these vanity metrics. All right. And if you've listened to our previous episodes and you're learning my heart and you know me well enough to know that I'm not out here chasing numbers, right? That growth is not just how many people showed up on Sunday. We're excited about that. That's not even how I define growth, right? I don't even define growth by that. I rarely look at the numbers for Sunday attendance. I'm aware of them because I need to be. I'm aware of what our budget is because I need to be. I'm aware of all those things. But if you watch episode 4, then you know that I'm focusing on lead goals, not lag goals. I'm not, instead of focusing on how many people show up on Sunday, I'm focusing on how many people we invite. Instead of showing, instead of focusing on how many people we can touch as volunteers or how many people are volunteered on Sunday, I'm focusing on how many classes we offer for discipleship and development, how many small groups we can create. Like I'm focused on the input goals, not the output goals, right? But here's the thing: as a leader, your mindset is going to go a long way in determining the output and the viewpoint of your church. If you have a mindset that says I can't grow, you're right, and you won't, because that's your mindset. If you don't have a mindset that says I have been authorized by God to make a difference in my community and in my city for the glory of God and for his kingdom, if you don't have a mindset that says that, then whatever you believe, you're right. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. So your mindset is the first factor that's really going to go a long way in determining who you become as a church, who you become as an organization. Number 2 is your metron. And the metron is a Greek word for measure, for amount. And scripture is very clear that as leaders, as people, as believers, that when we receive these gifts, God gives all of us a measure, which means that we can both have the same gift in different sizes. And that's okay. Some of us are called to be leaders of tens, some to be leaders of 50s, some to be leaders of hundreds, and some to be leaders of thousands, right? But that's your metron. And your metron is, I believe, made up of a couple of things. Number one, I believe it's made up of the raw gift that God has given you. Just the raw gift that God has given you, right? When I was, as long as I can remember, I've been fast. I've always been fast, right? And well, probably not now, but I was always fast. I discovered in elementary school that I was always one of the fastest kids in my class. I could run track, I could play football. I was always fast. And when I was younger and I played little league football, being fast was enough. Because you know what? If you faster than everybody else, all you gotta do is just find open space and just run, make them chase you, right? Well, then I went to high school. And in high school, being fast is still great, but you've got to have some more skills. So I discovered I needed to have vision. I needed to be able to see where I needed to go before I went there. I needed to have ball skills, just the ability to hold on to the football. I needed to have those things, agility, in order to be able to make a difference. And then when I went to college, like everybody was fast. Like when I got to Grambling, like I thought I was fast. I'm like, man, I'm blazing. In truth, I was like a 4.4 guy. Oh, when I get to college, it's like, bro, like almost everybody is 4.4, 4.5. Like everybody's fast. So being fast isn't enough. And so to what I'm saying is that I believe that your metron includes the raw talent that God has given you, but then also the effort that you put into getting better and growing as a leader. Like those two things matter because you have a measure of control over how your gift develops. You have a measure of control. If you continue to read as a leader, if you continue to study, if you continue to listen to other leaders, if you continue to listen to other preachers, if you continue to study other leadership styles, you will grow. And that doesn't mean you become a carbon copy of what everybody else is doing, because I don't feel like that at all. I feel like I am a pot of gumbo where I have chewed the fish and spit out the bones of a lot of different resources and use the wisdom of God to hold on to what matters. And so, as a leader, if you're still taking on the responsibility of investing in yourself, then I think that's a part of your metron. I really do. I think that's a part of your metron. I think sometimes leading 100 people, the difference between leading 100 people and leading 1,000 people is wisdom. It's literally finding the tools and the strategy you need to do it well, right? That's why we do systems. Is because systems help us see how we can help people scale what God has called them to do. Like with a good system, the same thing you do for 100 people, we can set it up to do for 1,000 people without it burning you out. Here's the beauty of a good system. This is the best quote I heard in all of 2021. The best quote I heard all of 2021 was, systems carry the weight of growth so you don't have to. The reason so many organizations don't grow is because in order to grow, it would stress out the people who can't take anymore. And so many leaders don't even realize this, that they have staff people, volunteers, people on their team who are lamenting growth because they're afraid of what it means for them. And whether you agree with it or not, it's reality. And so what systems do is they help carry the weight so that the people don't have to carry all of it. Right. And so my point is, the second part of what makes a difference in whether or not you can grow is your metron. Third is your market. Is your market. Where you are matters. And so I pastored in a small town. And when we got to 150 people showing up every Sunday, we were the largest church in the city. And you know what? We were satisfied with that. We were happy with that. We had one service where the whole building, our little small building was packed. And we felt like, man, we're doing the work God called us to do. And we were happy with that. And eventually we grew to where we're doing 3 services. And at 400 people, we were our city's version of a mega church. And we were happy with that. you know? And so all I'm saying is where you are matters. Where you are matters. But also, and this connects to mindset a little bit, how you see where you are matters. How you see where you are matters. Like you've got to fight against the urge to believe that the people where you are just don't want God. Like you got like every pastor in the world could say that. Like even in the South, in the Bible Belt, we could say that. We could say that because there are a ton of people who ain't thinking about church. They are not. They ain't thinking about it. They don't want it. They don't care about it. None of that stuff. Right? You have got to have a mindset that says Jesus wants to reach the people where you are. And wherever they are, whoever they are, doesn't matter how many of them it is, be faithful where you are. So, three things that I believe affect your opportunity for growth as a leader. Number one is your mindset. Do you believe growth is only up to God, or do you believe you have a part to play? Number two is your metron. What gifts and talents have God given you, and how are you working to invest in them and to increase those gifts and talents? And then number three, your market. Where are you? Have you, I know you can exegete the text, but have you exegeted your market to see and to know those that labor among you, to know the people around you, to know the people in your city? Have you gotten to know them? As you start to wrestle with those three things, now we can start to jump into what you really want to talk about, which are the 5 ideas for reaching new people. And I had to give you this first because if you don't wrestle with this, what I'm about to give you, it ain't gonna work because you're gonna have a team, or you're gonna have people, or you're gonna be fighting against yourself. And it's gonna be pushing back, and you're gonna be wondering why it's not working. All right. So let me give you the 5 ideas. Idea number one. All right. You want to reach people. I'm trying to be insanely practical here. Right. So I'm not going to spiritualize this. I'm not going to give you that. I'm giving you the honor of believing and assuming that you need to pray, you need to hear from the Lord, you need to have a clear vision of who God has called you to be. I'm giving you practical ideas. All right. Idea number one, invite cards. It's about equipping people to reach people. Church growth. One of the things that I remember when I was a little kid, I started reading the Bible. Right. I would just be sitting there thumbing through the Bible. And one of the things that I remember that was so unique is I remember coming across these passages in Genesis where it was lineages, right? And it was just all these people who begat this person, who begat this person. I was reading King James, who begat. And what I discovered is God made humans once, and then after that, any other human that was made was a result of two other humans getting together. God made Adam and Eve, right? God made Adam and Eve. After he makes them, humanity is now responsible for reproduction. I believe the same is true for church growth, is that sheep begat sheep. And so one of the most powerful things that we can do as leaders is to equip our people to go out and invite and to bring more people. But one of the most powerful things we can do is to equip our people to go out and to invite more people. And one of the simple ways you do that is with an invite card. So right there on the screen, if you're watching a video of this, you can see that. And it's literally a business card invite. On one side, it says you're invited, has your church name and logo, has your service times. On the other side, it may give a few more details. You'll give the address and the website and your locations and all that kind of stuff like that. You'll give all that stuff. And that's the invite card. Simple, right? And you can do it a bunch of different ways. You can make it a square, you can make it a circle, all of that. Last year in 2021, when our church grew and we added some people, of the people we added last year, the most of them we added was when we did a series where we put together an invite card and had people pass it out and invited them. Like that's the most growth we saw. And so it's about giving people the resource. You got to give people tools to do it. And this invite card, I'll give you another stellar idea. This invite card can be digital. You can create social media posts, write captions, send them to your people, text them out to them, email them, whatever it is, and let them go share it on their pages and say, hey, look, would you come be my special guest today? Invite cards, super simple, but effective way to add more people and to invite new people to church. All right. Number two is social media. Social media, it's about sharing stories that matter to people. So one of the things that we've just completed and we're about to complete, by the time you see this, we will have completed this. But one of the things we're about to complete is our church did a 21-day fast. And our theme for the year is borderless. And so borderless and borderless faith. And so we did what we call a borderless fast, is what we call it. So we did 21 days of fasting and prayer. And we put together workbooks for this. We put together an adult workbook, a youth workbook, and a children's workbook. And we just walked kids, and their and families through this 21-day kind of process. Well, to partner with that, one of the things that we did is that we recorded 21 devotionals from that workbook. The content was pulled from a 21-day devotional that I had written. And so what we did is that we brought in 20 people, 21 people from our church. I was one of them, plus some others, and we had them record a devotional of the day. And so they literally took the scripture and the write up that I gave them in the devotional, and they just gave insight and inspiration to other people based on what they read and what the Lord was speaking to them. And man, it was so powerful. And the reason it's been so powerful, it's because we've gotten to hear the stories of the people in our congregation, is that we're letting them share their stories. We've highlighted them. I didn't want to do 21 days of people watching me talk to them every day. They hear me talk all the time. I wanted to empower people to tell stories. And so what we've done is we created a way for us to tell the stories of people in our congregation. And because we've done it for 21 days, that's been social media content that has greatly increased our social media engagement. And it's also giving us content that we can use that what we call evergreen content. And so now those same 21-day devotionals that they recorded, we're going to turn into a 21-day email sequence that's going to go out to new people who either join our church or sign up for one of our resources. We're going to give them a 21-day journey where they can walk with God, get an email from us every day with a video in it that says, hey, look, go and check out what God is doing and what he said to these people on this day. All right. So you've got to figure out how to use your social media to tell real stories. Please, please, please stop using your social media page as an announcement board, because you've got to share stuff that people outside of the church care about. And when people outside of the church care about the stuff that you post, then they start to engage with it. And then it gives you an opportunity to eventually tell them about stuff. Most churches just post, here's what we're having, here's what we're doing, here's what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And that's just like blah to people. Like, people don't want to hear that. Imagine calling a new person and saying, hey, new person, all I want to talk to you about is whether or not you're coming to church. Are you coming to church today? No, I'm not coming. All right, hang up. You wouldn't do that. You would talk to them, and you would talk to them about something more significant. Maybe you hear about them, you let them hear about you, whatever it is. You want to create that with your social media. All right. The way we're doing that right now is that we've assigned and we've got team members now who are going to be leading social media. We're putting together a schedule for our social media. We're putting all of that together, a line by line. Here's what needs to be posted on each day of the week, different times of the week. Here's the kind of content we want to create so that we can start to engage with people in our community. All right. And for those of both of you who are part of, who are working with us, who are part of one of our programs, you're going to have access to that really, really soon. We're going to be uploading into your membership. So be on the lookout. It's going to be great. All right. Number 3, community partnerships. It's about telling the right stories. Here is one of the things that I want to help you with. I'm going to bless you. I'm telling you, this one truth is worth this whole podcast. All right. Most churches use outreach wrong, and they view it wrong, right? Because we do stuff in the community and we give away backpacks, we give away food boxes, we give away school supplies, we do stuff like that. And here's why I say we do it wrong, is because most churches do that with the expectation that following Sunday people are coming to church and our church is going to grow because we did outreach. And they get their feelings hurt every time, because when you go to people for outreach, they come to you for outreach. They don't come to you for church. They don't come to you for ministry. They don't come to you for any of those things, right? And so you've got to learn that the real value of outreach is being able to tell the story of how your church is partnering with Jesus to make a difference in the lives of the people in your community. That's the win. The win is not getting people to come to church the next day. The win is constantly telling stories of how you care about the community and how you're serving the community, and then allowing those stories over time to begin to create a narrative that makes like minded people see the church as a viable option for making a difference in the world. I need you to get this. Like the picture that you're looking at on screen, um, is every year for the last couple of years, we have done school supplies for our local community partner. And so instead of just opening it up to the whole world, to the whole city, we really zeroed in on our local elementary school as our primary partner. And so we work with them. The first year we did it, we gave school supplies to families. Well, this year we did it, and what you're looking at there is that we got the resources. We partner with a local organization who gets overstock goods from Amazon and CVS and Walgreens and Walmart, and they give those goods to community partners like churches. And so we got those goods, and we went to the school. We set up a shopping center. We set up a store in the lobby of the schools. And before school opened up, we had teachers to come get the supplies because we learned that was a much more valuable way to do it. Give the supplies to teachers and let them distribute them to students, because so many teachers spend their own money. And so we said, look, come shop here with us first. If we don't have what you need, then you can go and shop. And so what we've done is we've really spent the last couple of years building relationships with the teachers and the administration at the school. Now, do any of the teachers from that school go to our church? No, and none of them come, right? Do any of the students from that school and their parents and their families come to our church? No, and none of them come. But the people in our church have a clear sense of mission that we're here to serve beyond these four walls of this building. And here's a long game. The long game is we're going to have enough of these stories that when a person is ready to connect with the church, and they're ready to give their lives to Christ, and they're looking for a church where they can be involved in significant work of making a difference in the community, we're going to be an option. They're going to be able to look back and see a track record of we serve our community. And that's the value. That's one of the values of community partnerships, is that you can tell the stories of what it looks like when Jesus leaves the four walls of the church, that he's providing meals to people. He's providing school supplies to students who can't afford it. They're doing this. We just, for Christmas, we did an event we called the Christmas Cheer. And we work with the same partner, got a ton of goods, and we said, families, come in. And we went straight to our partners. We went to our schools that we work with. We went to different partners, and we said, hey, look, send us families. And about 80, 90 families came, and we gave away over $100,000 worth of merchandise. And we say, hey, look, don't stress yourself out trying to go buy all this stuff for Christmas. Here's an opportunity for you to go make a difference in your family's life. And they came, and we loved on them. We served. And I told our team before the event, I said, listen, I said, before we start this event, get it out of your head that any of these people are coming back tomorrow. Now, we're going to give them the option. We shared the gospel with people. We saw more than a dozen people give their lives to Jesus. And we did invite them to church and all that kind of stuff like that. But I said, look, don't set in your heart that these people are coming back. Like, just don't do it. And true to form, they didn't. But you know what was a win with that event? Our team got a chance to pull off an event and to work together in an event that they know was transformational to somebody's life. And that was more valuable than anything. And the people who volunteered in that event, like, they're serving like crazy. We even got people who weren't even a part of the church yet to come help. And guess what? They're a part of the church now. And so I'm telling you, the partnerships are more about the stories internally than they are externally. So I want you to see that. When you do an outreach event, don't do it so more people can come to your church, right? The only time I've seen that work is when you do an Easter egg helicopter drop, right? Like your Elevation Church or something, and you drop, all these Easter eggs with money and candy and gifts and prizes in it, and you attract, so many people. Like, if you can do an outreach event that'll bring 1,000 people, you'll probably get some of those people to come back. Like, you can get some of those people to come back. But the scale at which you have to do it is astronomical, that the average church just can't get over that tipping point. And so see community partnerships as a long game, not a short game. All right. Number 4, people-driven events. people-driven events. It's about opening comfortable doors, right? I just alluded to this. We did this. This is a screenshot from our Christmas event and a team that was helping us pull that off. And what we did is that we set up our entire sanctuary full of stuff. And you can see it a little bit there. It's stuff everywhere. Oh my goodness. It was ridiculous. It was stuff all over the place. And when we did that, then we said, now let's invite people in to come and just grab this stuff. And we'll tell them, hey, look, we've got stuff where you can come shop and you can go back. Right. And so that event was driven by people. And I mention this because most churches do church driven events, and they do events that are great for church people, but they're not necessarily appealing to people outside the church. Like they're just not. And so what you got to think about is, if we're going to do an event, like, why would people who are outside of the church want to be a part of this? And so that's what we did. We did a people driven event, and we brought them in, and we've got a plan, a part of our strategy guide. Some of you may have already gone in and purchased our strategy guide for 2022, but we give you this template, this blueprint, where you literally lay out who you want to reach this year, the processes you're going to use to reach them, the projects and events that you're going to do to reach them, and what you're going to preach to reach them. Like, we lay all of that out for you. And a part of what we talk about in there is the projects, the events that you're going to do to target the people you want to reach. So for us this year, we've set our primary goal as men. And so our first event is that we're doing a party for the big game, for the Super Bowl, right? And really what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to bring men out and engage men. And so we're going to engage men in a couple different ways. The game doesn't start till like 5:30, but we're going to ask guys to start coming, or men who want to help to come at like 4, or to just stay with us after service, because we're going to grill the food instead of ordering it out. And it would be easier and cheaper to just order a bunch of pizzas. But I want to stand around the smoke with some guys and just talk shop while we cook and just do that. Like, I want those moments with those guys. So that's an event that is driven at helping us connect with guys and walk alongside them as we really drive ahead. All right. And so think about how you can do more people driven events. If you want more information about that, you can go on our website and you'll see the strategy guide that I was talking about for 2022. All right. Number 5, your 5th idea. And I'm giving you all kinds of good stuff right here. And this one is a little bit more advanced, but it works, and it is ad campaigns. It's about spreading your reach. Here's a reality. When you post stuff on social media, I need you to know that maybe 5% of the people who follow you see what you post. All right. 5% of the people who follow you see what you post. All right. I want you to think about this. Let's imagine you have a Facebook page, just a personal Facebook page, and the maximum is 5,000 friends. So let's just say you have 2,500 friends. So there are 2,500 people who are connected with you. So ideally, what you would think is, when you post something, it shows up on the timeline of those people, all 2,500 of those people who are your friends, right? Wrong. Those same people, all 2,500 of those people that you're friends with, they might have 2,500 friends of their own. So if Facebook puts on their page the post of all 2,500 people, how long would they have to scroll in order to see everything that everybody's posted? They have to scroll forever. So what Facebook has done, they've created, and this is not just Facebook, this is all social media, this is Instagram as well. They've created what they call the algorithm. And what the algorithm does is that it automatically curates and determines what's valuable, what's most valuable, and what we need to show to people. So here's how it works. You post something on social media, and within an hour, 10 people like it, people comment, whatever it is, right? When people start engaging with your post, then it says to the algorithm, hey, look, people like this funny thing that they posted, people like it. So show it to more of the people on their friends list. And so it just starts with showing it to a very small group of people to say, okay, let's see if they like it. If they like it, then it shows it to more. So it kind of shows it to the people who generally always engage with your stuff, right? Because they've told the algorithm, we love their content, always show us their stuff by liking it. And then after that, when it's proven valuable, it shows it to more people. And so what ends up happening is most of the people on your timeline never see the stuff you post, which is why even when it comes to social media, you got to post things so often Like right now in our business, we're moving into a strategy where we're posting at least 4 times a day. And I know that sounds like so much to me, but that's why we have a team now who's kind of doing that. Because if I had to do it, it would not get done. But that's what you need because people don't see your stuff because new content is being created at such a high clip that even if it popped up on their timeline, it gets pushed down really quickly. So what ad campaigns does, it gives you a way to jump over the algorithm. And so with ad campaigns, you can create a post, you can create a video, you can create an announcement and tell Facebook, hey, I want you to show it to everybody who lives within a 1 mile radius of the church or within a 5 mile radius of the church. I want you to show it to everybody who likes our Facebook page and their friends, right? And when you're doing an ad campaign, and this is just a part of the way it works with a business, when you're doing an ad campaign, then what they do is they make sure that the people on your list see what you're sharing. That's what they do. Ad campaigns let you skip the algorithm, basically. And so, if you really want to start reaching out and reaching new people, you can target. And Facebook has a scarily detailed targeting system. You can target people by where they live. You can target people by the amount of money that Facebook thinks they make. You can target people based on similar interest. If you're a church and you know that there's a popular preacher who's similar to the style of your church, so let's say Bishop T.D. Jakes, right? He's like the preacher of preachers. A lot of people like him. He's a very big figure. And your church has a similar flow. You can say, hey, look, show this invite to everybody in my city, in our city, who likes the TD Jakes Facebook page. And Facebook will show it to them. Say, and you can put a big ad that says, looking for a local church at such and such church, at Digital Discipleship Church. We believe in introducing people to Jesus, training them to walk with Jesus, and releasing people to go work with Jesus, right? And you can put that out there and show it to people who might be interested and get some traction that way. All right. So that's 5 simple ideas for reaching new people. And so now, as always, if you need some help with this and you want to take some next steps with what you feel like God's calling you to do and executing your vision, hey, look, reach out to me. You've got a couple of options. You can either you can email me at henry@simplesystems.cc and our team will reach out to you and we'll help you connect and set up a discovery call. Or you can just click the link in the description, set up your discovery call, and we would love to connect with you, have a conversation, and see if we're a fit. Because I'll tell you now, we are not a fit for everybody. That mindset stuff that I talked about on the front end, I'm telling you, that's serious business. If more than ever, one of the reasons that we have restructured the churches that we work with, a huge part of it is mindset. If our mindsets are not in a similar space, or if your mindset is not in a space where I think we can help you, I'll tell you that, like, hey, look, I don't think you guys are quite ready for us to help you or whatever it is, because we push the gas and we try to work pretty aggressively when we start doing things, and so we won't kind of drag our feet. So that being said, if we can help you, we love to explore. If you feel like you're ready to take some next steps, let us know and let's do it. All right. Well, listen, I hope this has been a blessing to you. As a matter of fact, I know that this has been good content, and I hope you'll take it and go and do something with it. I encourage you, share it with your team. People on your team could be watching these videos, listening to the podcast, and growing and developing as leaders because you're exposing them to this resource. All right. Listen, I appreciate you being with us today. Until I see you next time, keep the gears turning.